So we're doing one of these things, huh? Alright, let's set the mood.
I got spurs that jingle, jangle, jingle,
Jingle jangle,
as I go riding merrily along.
jingle jangle,
And they sing, oh, ain't you glad you're single?
jingle jangle,
And that song ain't so very far from wrong.
jingle jangle.
Oh, Lily Bell,
Oh, Lily Bell,
oh, Lily Bell.
oh, Lily Bell.
Though I may have done some fooling, this is why I never fell. 'Cause I got spurs that jingle, jangle, jingle,
Jingle jangle,
as I go riding merrily along.
jingle jangle,
And they sing, oh, ain't you glad you're single?
jingle jangle,
And that song ain't so very far from wrong.
jingle jangle.
Got spurs that jingle, jingle,
I got
jingle,
spurs that jingle jangle,
as I go
jingle,
riding merrily
as I
along.
go riding merrily
And they
along.
sing, oh, ain't you glad
And
you're
they
single?
sing, oh, ain't you glad
And
that you're
that song
single?
ain't so very far
And
from
that song
wrong.
ain't so very far from wrong.
And I think that's about enough of that. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. As always, I'm your host, AirsoftAL. And of course, welcome to the first, hopefully many in the future, Loadout video, which I will be doing, of course, for the Appalachian first Recon Loadout, which I will be rocking, of course, at Atomic Cell, literally, as a publication of this video, happening very fucking soon. So if you haven't gotten your tickets, please go get your tickets. Seriously, go get your tickets, guys. I want to see more of you guys out there. I want to see some NCR out there. If you can make it, of course. Now, let's go ahead and kind of break this down a little bit, especially this right here, which will be related to, of course, the game mechanics of the Radiation Storm. If you want to know about that, go watch my video on the, well, mechanics of the actual game. And we'll get into that in the hot minute. So let's go ahead and break it down, shall we? Why am I using a Russian accent? I'm going to stop that now. So, let's go ahead and kind of talk about, hey, what's going on? Well, first off, this right here, you're probably a little bit confused about if you can see the Tiger Stripe. Why am I using Tiger Stripe instead of M81? Well, here's the thing, folks. M81 and Tiger Stripe, I love both. They're both a vibe. Can't believe I used that phrase. They are both aesthetically pleasing. But for the lore aspect of my loadout, Tiger Stripe is how you indicate someone from first Recon in the Appalachian region. Words work. Outside, of course, the Red Beret, which will be rocked all the time, not just in lore reason, but also because of game mechanic. You know, dead rag. Can't really rock any red without something going on. So yeah, there's that. And to move my hands a little better, I'm just going to go ahead and break down these. I'm using hard knuckle leather gloves, which I know many are saying why not use black leather gloves. Well, reason for the hard knuckles is because honestly this is more or less from my own experience. I used leather gloves at one point, which were not the black leather gloves. They were actually leather work gloves that I had that I decided to just cut the fingers off of and use those, and they did work for a good hot minute, but they didn't really protect the knuckles from knuckle shots or really anything else in particular. So I went, of course, with the hard knuckles because hard knuckle gloves, be they, of course, faux or real or whatever, actually do protect my knuckles from basically other things outside, of course, BB shots, which, to those who have played Airsoft, you know exactly what that's about. So, probably wondering, what about everything else? Well, let's go ahead, take these off, so that way I can get a little bit more articulate, shall I say, with my hands. Now again, getting back of course into the Tiger Stripe is basically supposed to be able to indicate, hey, these guys are first recon, but Tiger Stripe also has another aspect to it. It is very good at blending into its environments and kind of breaking up the silhouette. Now why the tan khaki top versus the camo bottoms, you may be asking? Well, that is of course because in lore, while yes, the NCR in Appalachia is of course able to outfit a lot of its troops with some new guns and gear thanks to Sector 9's vast armories, it's still not enough. So you'll be seeing a lot of troopers with either camo tops and khaki bottoms, or camo bottoms and khaki tops. However, the combination of a camo bottom and a khaki top is a clear indication that this is of course Appalachian NCR. Now, outside of that of course, there is more to be said about the lore itself, but I'm not going to dive into it right now. I'm going to wait until, of course, the event to kind of get into character and kind of develop that lore a little bit more. Now, let's talk about headgear. Red Beret, no go. Well, what is a go? Well, that's going to be a helmet that's actual Kevlar that has actually been modified aftermarket-wise. So let's go ahead and grab that headgear, shall we? Thank you, magic of editing! So yes, this is actually a Kevlar helmet, a legitimate Kevlar helmet that I was able to get at a flea market that had some aftermarket straps attached to it as well as some padding. So yeah, now you're seeing this and you remember what I said about the Tiger Stripe. Well, here's the thing, folks. While, yes, of course, the NCR does have, or at least in the Appalachian region, does have a now vast majority of headgear to give, M81 is still pretty fucking effective. And totally not because I have not been able to find any Tiger Stripe helmet covers for the M88 helmet. That's totally not the reason. It's not the reason at all. So, big thing though is that M81 is a good covering and does work with keeping the head concealed, especially for those of the first recon who can't rock their red berets out in the field doing deep reconnaissance, but still want some protection and camouflage. So the 3 different camo patterns does actually work out pretty well. I've actually tested this out at the field at Sector 9 and found that yes, it is somewhat effective in dense foliage and forest of Tennessee, or in this case just Appalachia as a whole. Out in the combat zone, however, it's basically a good way to distinguish who's got head covering and who doesn't, but again, I'll let those who are better at combat understanding, kind of explain this better than ever I could. But in terms of just the aesthetics, M81, khaki, Tiger Stripe. Let your imagination do with that as it will. So, with that said, this does have, of course, some Velcro, which, yes, I am, of course, going to be representing my boys at Sector 9, as well as, of course, my state of Tennessee. That is purely aesthetic. And again, totally not because I wasn't able to get any sort of Velcro NCR patches in time. Totally not that. But I will be getting into the gear here. So, let's talk about what's on my hip, shall we? Now, to those who are basically wondering, okay, what's on my hip and how does this relate to the mechanics? Well, here's the thing. One of the rule sets of Atomic Cell is basically airsoft-rated gas mask must be used to be immune to the radiation storms. So once you hear that tickety-tick-tick-tick-tick, or I hear the tickety-tickety-tick-tick of my Geiger counter going off, well, I grab something from the Divide, which, of course, is none other than a breathing mask. And in terms of, can I communicate in this thing? Well, we're about to find that out, Sonny Jim. And, I mean that. So, first off, let's go ahead and grab this, put that on my neck.
And to be fair, technically speaking, yes, if I yell loud enough, you can actually hear me. And so far, yes, I can communicate pretty well. Now here's the thing though. I can't exactly have this mask as high up on me as I can, or else it interferes with my safety glasses. Which then again, I'll be wearing safety glasses with this over them. So again, have at that what you will. But yes, this is essentially the mask I'm going to be rocking, which is the Airsoft rated mask. And of course, whether or not, hey, can I actually aim with the damn thing? Well, people have done more than enough videos basically talking about this topic that you can go research that in your own damn time. But needless to say, yes and no, you can just be good, son. As in, get good. Or at least practice enough to be able to get good. Know what I mean?
Now, if you're wondering what the mask is I was wearing, it's a 3M mask. To be exact, it is a 3M odor/particle multi-purpose mask. The OVP100 A1P2, basically this. It's this. You can get this at your local Lowe's, hardware store, Home Depot, whatever, or like me, Amazon. And, legitimately speaking, I got this package because it came with the filters already, and you know what? If you want the mask to work, it's got to have filters. Or at least, in this case, this. And before anyone says anything about the filters being red, they're not red, they're not lightish red, they are pink! And you have to be colorblind even not to tell that pink is different from red, for God's sakes. See? Pink, red, pink, red, pink, red, pink, red, not lightish red, pink! So, that out of the way, let's talk about the guns. And I know that's exactly what you want to talk about, because I know you well enough that you want to talk about my guns and the stuff I've been posting about, so let's talk about the guns, shall we? Let's go ahead and get the primary out of the way. This is a custom-built from parts kits Recon rifle. Now, I know you're scratching your head, Recon rifle? Well, think about this. In Universe, we have the service carbine, we have the service rifle, the assault carbine, the marksman's carbine, and freaking combat rifle, and that abomination from Fallout 4, for which we will never speak about ever again. So why not something that's short, maneuverable, and still holds that ability to basically be one full length of trigger pull, full stock rifle of a service rifle, but the compact 10.5-inch barrel of a assault carbine? Well, this is exactly what my creation is. It is built up from a parts kit of a G&P, don't remember the name of the designation, and just all this right here. I did the paint job myself, which was supposed to be Bakelite, but everyone tells me it came out like wood. I'm gonna leave that to you. Does this look like Fakelite? Or is it wood? Let me know in the comments section down below. Now, the other aspect about this is that I built this up in the aspect of Appalachia. For those who have never hunted in the woods, or even just trekked in the woods, or even been in the brush, having a full-size 20-inch barrel is not exactly intuitive. Hell, even a 16.5-inch barrel is not exactly intuitive. But when I played Airsoft with this right here as the test bed at Sector 9, which does actually have not only urban, but woodland as well, this performed admirably. I was able to maneuver really well, I was able to use it really well, and again, it worked. Now, the three-prong flash hider is there because, well, three-prong flash hiders are very effective. Just saying, it's very effective. And it gives off a nice ting sound every time it fires. So you know what, I just love the ting every time it fires. But in reality, I built it short like this, but solid like this, so that way I had a rifle-length trigger pull, but an SPR, well, barrel. And here's the thing, this is Airsoft, not real steel. Airsoft, you're not going to lose velocity with a barrel length. And I'm not going to get a frickin' fireball at the end of it either. Even though the flash hider would technically mitigate that, especially the three-prong flash hider, which actually did mitigate the flash. Autism aside, this actually does work really, really well. And again, it's very maneuverable. Now you're looking at this, and this is part of the other equipment I'll be rocking, which is cameras. Now I will be, of course, rocking the Scope Cam SE on a Picatinny mount right here on the carry handle. I went with the SE because, one, it has that retro look about it. It looks like a laser or even an advanced targeting system almost, which I'm going to go with laser because if you've ever used the amazing man known as Degenerate Dax mods, you know that he loves his big honking lasers. And this right here definitely fits that fucking laser sight really well. And I am still able to look through it and use the combat sight, which of course is the 0 to 200 meter combat sight. And, yeah, works really well, I'm not going to lie. And again, I've tested this, it works really well. The strap, of course, I've set up to where it can basically, I like this better than, of course, the traditional under, but again, that's just my personal preference. Everyone's got their own preference for how they want to rock their slings. Now, let's get to the sidearms. Because you can't have a rifle without a sidearm, and because this is a gas blowback event, with only one day where I can use this for 2 games, well, I can only use a gas blowback, so let's just go ahead and grab a gas blowback. It may not be, it's not the one I want to use, but we'll see what things happen in the future if I can use this or not. So, let's get to it, shall we? Now, of course, I could have gone with a 9mm, a Browning high power, a Beretta, you know, something along that line that definitely fits the Fallout feel, especially tactics, because it confirmed that the Sig Sauer P220 and, of course, the Beretta M9 is canonical to Fallout. But I decided to go with a tried and true sidearm that legitimately actually is carried a lot, and I personally have carried myself while going out hunting and dealing with the bigger critters of Appalachia, especially if you know the big critters of Appalachia. That being, of course, the Lord's handgun and caliber. Because here's the thing, folks. 9mm kills the body, but 45 ACP kills the soul. Okay, obligatory Russian Badger reference out of the way, let's actually talk about the sidearm here. Now, I will be using, of course, this is kind of a backup, and this is what I'm going to be giving to my friend Beth, who actually is coming, and you may be seeing gameplay on the channel when we get to the other camera. Now, here's the thing, though. 45 right here is a Army Armament R31, much like close to being an R91, the HK-33 from Fallout's past. Anyway, and it is a dual-powered gas blowback CO2 green gas. But here's the thing. This is one of 3 handguns I am bringing to the event. The other one is a WeTech 1911, which, of course, the full 1911, that's currently not with me. It is actually with a buddy of mine. And my reasoning for having such a gaudy 1911 is because I picked it up off of a Raider, and I've just been keeping it because reasons. The other, of course, is a Vickers Tactical 1911, but if you've seen a 1911, you see it all. So, essentially, I'm just going to be rocking a 1911. Because here's the thing, folks. A lot of the critters in Tennessee, especially Appalachia, 9mm is just going to piss them the fuck off. 45 ACP, 44 Magnum, 357, bigger handgun calibers, yeah, no, that shit right there deals with them pretty fucking good, I'm not going to lie. So, yes, it makes sense that, well, someone who is going to be going into deep Appalachia doing Recon would have a 1911, or in this case, something chambered in 45 ACP to take care of the local critters if the rifle goes down. So, yeah. Well, okay, outside of, you know, the rifle going down, you're not able to get to their gun, you know, that sort of thing, so, yeah. Now we get to the camera, and this is something that has been decisive with people, so let's kind of go into that, shall we? The camera I shall be rocking is, of course, the Runcam Helmet Cam 4K. Why 4K? Well, here's the thing. The other camera, which was the 1080p camera, I was not happy with the audio because the mic was literally built inside the body, and I had to drill out the microphone holes so you could actually hear something. This one, they decided to actually build the damn mic into the actual mic hole, and depending on how things go, I might actually extend the hole a bit, so that way better audio quality, basically, is what I'm trying to say. The bigger the hole, the more audio comes in. The other thing is the neck of this sucker is actually pretty stiff. Like, this is a pretty stiff neck, and it actually will work. The others, I've already tested the Velcro on this sucker, and yeah, no, the Velcro works. It actually does work out pretty well. And with its basically turn on and forget features, I'm able to literally turn on and not worry about it because it does have indicators on the sides of the camera itself. Now, the other thing is that I might be getting a bigger micro SD in the future because this one is not exactly big enough for covering the event, I'm afraid, or at least that's my personal fear. So, yeah, there's that. But either way, though, it also fits that aesthetic of retro, just kind of bulky something or other. Because if you look at the advanced combat armor from Fallout New Vegas, you kind of see the cameras attached to the actual helmet, or in this case, some sort of things, or at least lights and things like that. So yeah, no, it actually makes sense that that something like this would actually be used by Recon if they want something to basically be like, and look around, you know, if they don't have their lights. So there's that. And now we get to the actual gear itself, and I'm not even waiting. Let's actually talk about my setup. And this is my setup. Now, of course, the big thing you're probably seeing is this, which of course is the leather holster that will be holding the 1911. I'm still wearing it in. The inside is still stiff as almighty. The other is the pistol pouches that you see here. Again, this is supposed to give off that lovely mix of, hey, I'm basically doing what I can, what I got. And the leather pouches, of course, do hold my 1911 magazines. I have 6 in total, which is the required limit for gas blowback magazines at the event. The other is for the 2-day rec game, which of course includes 1 220-round magazine pouch and 1 3 30-round magazine pouch. Now, the reason for this designation and why I set this up this way is because, again, I set this up for basically light recon. They're not going to be in heavy combat. They're mostly there to just kind of reconnaissance and just call out enemy positions. They're not expecting to be in contact, but if they are, then hey, 30 right here, which is basically just 90 rounds right here, and 220 rounds right here, that's 40. That right there, you do the math, that's how much 5.56 they're rocking, as well as the 45 they're also rocking. The other thing is the compass pouch, because yes, I will be able to use my Boy Scout land navigation skills that I got my merit badge for at the event, because yes, they will be having a map, and having a compass will be important. The other thing is, of course, the 2 canteen pouches, because yes, of course I'm going to have 2 canteens. Why wouldn't I have 2 canteens? However, unlike the metal canteens that you might be expecting me rocking, instead I'll of course be rocking these 2 right here, which are plastic, yes I know, with the metal cups, I know. Just bear with me, I'm trying to go for as much water as humanly possible, and this is kind of all I got in terms of the largest water bottles I got, even though I know I can get the metal 1 liters online, or even 3 liters, give or take. But those won't arrive in time for the event, sadly, so yeah, priorities. Now, the other thing is, of course, the microphone that you see right here. The radio I have here is, of course, a Baofeng 152. If you don't know what a 152 is, that's fine. I'll open her up and I'll show you. It is a big, honking radio. And I decided to put a small antenna on it to kind of give off that retro vibe of these small antennas on a radio. Now, I know everyone's going to say, well, now, wait a minute, they did have actually larger antennas on them as well. Well, that's just fine and dandy, Sonny Jim, but yeah, essentially this. And, of course, the Baofeng, quote-unquote, military microphone with a volume adjuster, which is probably the best microphone I've ever used in my life, I'll be honest, versus the other microphone, which actually doesn't do diddly dick. However, it does have a earpiece thing here on the actual radio itself, but I couldn't care less about it, and I don't care less about it. I just couldn't give a good damn about the whole thing, honestly. But it is what it is. Now, let's go ahead and get this clip back together. And kind of just get this whole thing on, and then we'll kind of just let you see me in its entirety, shall we? Overall, in terms of equipment and just basically load-bearing capacity, yes, this does ride on my hips. I'm not going to lie to you, this does kind of ride on my hips a little bit. But then again, that just is what it is, isn't it? The other thing is that it's not too uncomfortable, it's actually this right here that is. It's causing this to kind of not be all the way down. Now, I went with this decision here because, again, it's a lovely little setup, and it does work out fairly well, honestly. Especially once you take into consideration just the whole concept behind it of being a somewhat light armored recon unit. Or at the same time, if I'm going to be in combat, at least I want to be able to be maneuverable to be able to do what I do best. Especially when I have, of course, a light recon rifle right here, which of course is the, well, recon rifle. And again, it's not that bad, and I'm able to basically quickly get this on my back, and if I have to, reach for my sidearm if I need to. And my sidearm being the way it is, cross-drawn like this, it's easy to basically pull it out if I'm, say, laying down a field somewhere on my back, or in a position where I cannot reach, of course, my service weapon. Again, it works, and it works really well as a setup. Then again, it's going to be put to the test at Atomic Cell, September 19th to the 21st. So yeah, if you haven't already gone to Bushwookie Airsoft's Facebook or their website yet and actually got the tickets, seriously recommend you do. Because believe me, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I know I'm going to have a lot of fun. And yes, the magazine pouches will of course come off, and I will be of course switched over to, well, another setup that's more or less in line with the pistols only setup I'll be rocking and running. So, yeah. That's just kind of what it is. But, until then, ladies and gentlemen, as always, I've been AirsoftAL, and I shall see all you lovely, lovely people in the next video. Till next time. Hope to see you at Atomic Cell, folks. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta go patrol Appalachia.